Are we sticking to a category or a time frame? Or because I'd like to have $1 million here at some point. But
that's a good one. If I had $1 million.
If I had $1 million,
I'd be rich.
I'd be rich.
I'd buy you a pet monkey, but not a real pet monkey. That's cruel.
That's cruel. Bare Naked Ladies, guys, check them out.
Well,
the band,
the band,
the Grammy Award-winning band, the Bare Naked Ladies.
Grammy Award-winning.
Yeah.
Huh.
Have you ever felt awkward when trying to start a conversation? Do you ever find yourself feeling overwhelmed? Or perhaps you wish you could keep track of your money better? Do adulting skills give you grief? What if you had one place to go to learn about all these skills and more?
Welcome to Adulting Encrypted. We prepare young adults to be independent powerhouses for life. An independent powerhouse is someone who possesses the ability to be socially, emotionally, practically, and financially independent.
Let's take a quick second for us to introduce ourselves.
I'm Ashton. When I first moved out, I wanted nothing more than independence. There were a lot of things that I didn't know, and I needed help from my parents in basically all facets of my life. I went on a 2-year service mission, and when I came home, I was determined to do better than I did before. I'm now living on my own, paying for my own place, and learning a ton of lessons that I am happy to learn, even though they may be difficult. I'm excited to share what I'm learning. I'm also excited to learn with you.
I'm Gideon. And while seeing the world and people around me, I've always wanted to stand out and be more prepared than my peers, lacking the skill to know where to look and to find guidance, other than my older and wiser family. Now with this podcast, I can learn how to progress and share this knowledge with others.
I'm Roscoe, the dad. Michelle and I thought we had taught the children everything they needed to know to become adults. Then one day at dinner, we were having a conversation about an Ivy League school had just started Adulting 101, and they were teaching such basic skills, and I was laughing. That's when Ashton jumped in, Gene and Gideon, and all told us about the gaps in our training. That is why we decided to launch Adulting Decrypted.
Normally, there are 4 hosts for the show. Gene, the 4th host, is currently on a 2-year service mission.
I'm Gene, and I'm actually recording this on my phone because I'm out in Louisiana and Mississippi. I won't be able to join the discussion today. I will be back, I promise.
While we won't be able to hear his live comments, we're looking forward to sharing his thoughts and his stories regularly on the show.
And now, on with the episode.
I kind of thought this would be a fun idea because I struggle with writing down my goals every day, and I think it might be fun to check up on that as well as set some new goals and have the liability partner of everybody that listens to this episode. So I thought that might be fun. What do you guys think that you might set goals on? Cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought it would be fun to write down our goals every day, and that mainly be the goal.
The goal is to write the goals.
Because as long as you're thinking about it and it's conscious at least once every day, then it drives you to try some more. So I think it might be interesting to check up on what we might be writing every morning. Just maybe not some of the personal ones, but physical.
Maybe to help us and the listener know where we want to go with this, can you give us some background on writing the goals every day and what the strategy or, what does that look like? Is it get up and write on, like a whiteboard every day? Is it, get up and write on a piece of paper? What, and is it like 1 minute, one goal? Is it, just kind of give us some context.
It's supposed to look like the Bart Simpson in The Simpsons every episode where he's writing it on the chalkboard every time it plays.
I will not. I don't remember what he is.
He writes so many different ones.
Okay. Yeah. So what's important with goals that I've found in different media and books is to, one, write down goals that are achievable, like SMART goals, I think are important. I would like to, in my personal case, and this is totally up for debate and rediscussion, I'd like to write at least 5 future goals, 6 months is future for me. 5 future goals, and then 10 short-term 3 to 1 month goals, I think would be fun. And yeah, make them smart.
So do a 6 month goal, like a handful of 6 month goals, some immediate goals. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So I was thinking 5 6-month dash long term goals, and then 10 short term, 3 to a month long goals.
You said SMART. Have we talked about SMART goals on the podcast? I don't remember if we have or not.
Yeah, it's been a minute, so it might be worth digging into briefly to remind us.
Can I? Or do you want to? Go for it. You know, it's actually, I wanted to pick this one up because I just had a conversation with a student I was teaching. He graduated from high school and just got into college doing music degree stuff. He's still not 100% sure if he likes what he's doing. He's trying to do what he's doing the best he can. And he asked me about like setting goals and stuff. I was like, oh, have you ever heard of SMART goals? And he was like, no. So I got to walk him through it, and it's pretty fun. But basically, SMART is an acronym. S stands for specific, M is measurable, A is attainable, R is relevant, and T is timely. You guys are looking at me like I messed one of them up. No? We're all on the same page? Great.
No, the A is always an interesting one to me.
Yeah.
Because what is obtainable?
Right.
I don't disagree with SMART goals. That's not what I'm saying. That was just the look as I'm thinking through to myself going, what's obtainable or
right,
which is funny because obtainable and attainable. Anyways,
attainable, yeah. Well, I agree with A being the hardest letter because it's like that's really the question always when you're setting a goal is like, can I do it? You know. So the other steps I feel like are built to try and help inform that one, but diving a little deeper, specific, you just have to anyone should be able to read your goal and know exactly what you want to do. That's for me, that's what I think specific is. Measurable builds off of specific, so that goal should be able to be measured. So like in our case, we were talking about music, and I was like, well, you can't just say, I want to learn some music this week. You should be able to say, I want to learn these measures of this thing or learn all of this piece. You know, that's something that you can measure. At the end of the week, you look at the piece. Have you learned it all? Nope. Okay, got to reevaluate. Have I? Yes, you did. Measurable. Attainable. This one, learning music, I use as a filter, obviously, because that's my large experience. But like, is it attainable to learn a 3-minute long solo in a week? Really depends on how difficult it is. But if it was a solo that I wanted to play at my level, not a chance. There's no way I could learn a 3-minute solo in a week on my current schedule. And so that for me, that's kind of a gauge for that. But like, I don't know how you guys approach attainable.
Well, I think that was wise, Ashton, because as you talked about it, you didn't say what's obtainable because you could learn 3-minute song at the level you want to in a week if that's all you were doing. Right? Maybe you can't, I don't know, but you should be able to do something in a week, but then you have to step back and go, okay, balanced against everything else that I have going on. It's not realistic or right. You know, attainable. I think that's a good example of what that means. As we're first starting out with goals, I think it's okay sometimes to put something that we're not sure if it's obtainable until we measure it and try it. And right, that's why it needs to be specific and measurable. Then you can say, okay, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And that's where having a guide like you for this student to turn to you and say, Ashton, is this realistic to say that I should be able to learn 18 measures?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, if you're willing to, how many hours do you have a week?
Right. Yeah, totally.
And I could turn to Gideon and say, Gideon, is it realistic for me to put on, 2 inches of mass on my bicep in a week?
No.
Come on.
What if I use steroids?
Well, yeah.
Well, no, I don't know. I'm asking.
Even then, it's probably not.
Probably not. Okay, good.
Unless you're filling with
gel
oils. Yeah.
The attainable one too is like really big for me as far as morale. Because like right now I teach percussion at a local high school, and a lot of students have lofty goals of stuff that they want to play. One in particular, he's got 2 solos that he wants to learn. He's got a really big percussion ensemble piece that he wants to be a part of. He's got some chamber ensembles, which is like smaller groups of people playing stuff. And I was like, okay, like this is super cool. And I want you to do all of it. But at the same time...
Are you talking like miniature people? Sorry, I'm distracted. Smaller.
Miniature people?
You said smaller people.
What?
You said smaller.
Oh, I think I meant if I said smaller people, I meant a smaller group of people.
Oh,
so like a percussion
not-
ensemble would be
not necessarily
larger
small
than
people.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's percussion ensembles like 7 or more people, and
Okay.
chamber ensembles anything less than that until 2 is a duet,
okay.
1 is a solo. But so I just said to him, I go, make sure that understand that if I was doing what you were trying to do in college, that translates to about at least 15 hours of practice a week. At least. And so make sure you realize you're still going to 7 hours of school every day, plus however many hours of extracurricular, plus however many hours of homework. So like, do your goals, but also understand it's okay to take on a little bit less and do better with what you want to do than taking on too much and kind of missing the target on all of those. And so like, but if you set a goal and it's not attainable, or you don't think of it through the attainable lens, it lends itself to the possibility of discouraging you from setting good goals in the future, because you're like, well, I set the goal and it didn't matter, so here we are again. So
Good. I think that answered my question, Gideon.
Yeah.
Any more thoughts on that one?
I mean, I think it kind of leads into the relevant of it, because if you're spending, if your goal is to, in more of a financial sense, because it's really easy for like everybody, I think, to understand. If your goal was to earn $1 million in a week, it needs to be relevant, and you need to think like, what's the sacrifices needed to be made, and is it relevant to my life at the time?
Well, I could make $1 million in a week. I think somebody would pay if I sold all 4 of you. 200. Oh wait, you're not.
No one would buy me, let's be real.
Well, I mean, you got some valuable organs.
I mean, that's not me though. Me is deeper.
No, it's not.
Oh, ow.
That's as deep as the organs get.
Guys, this is my last episode on the
Okay.
podcast. Gideon hurt my feelings.
Oh, he's shanking him. That's good. Yeah, that's gonna be hard to get clear in the edit. Shank.
Sorry about that.
Here, just say it in like big, like shank, 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 and Dad can like pull it over. And
There you go.
Shank, 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 shank,
Perfect.
shank,
Enough.
shank.
Anyway,
Okay.
Is that relevant to the podcast, Gideon?
I
You
don't-
shanking me? Is that?
I don't think that's relevant to
okay.
the goals.
All
that
right.
we're-
Let's
that we're
leave it
talking
out.
about.
Let's leave it out then.
Okay. Sounds good.
But yeah, so on irrelevant, obviously it needs to matter with what you're trying to do, right?
Yeah.
And it's got to be relevant to you as an individual, or no? I don't know.
I think so. And it depends on relevant would be your smaller goals relevant to your bigger goals.
Smaller what now?
Goals. Sorry. Anyways,
Enunciation is key.
if your big goal is to earn $1 million, your
Yep.
small goal of I want to, let's say,
Make
learn
enough
music.
money to take a girl out to lunch,
Okay.
right?
Anyways, if your small goal would be, at least for me, just an example I think of, because Justin's talking about music, I have a guitar hanging up on my wall that I sometimes use. A small goal would be, hey, I want to learn like half of this song. Then how is that relevant to my big financial goal? So maybe sometimes those smaller goals need to be toned down to fit
Yeah.
your
Well,
larger picture.
And with some of those ones too, like that's where, for me, that's where some of that robot stuff comes in. Because like if the playing the guitar is not like relevant to you as a person or to those larger goals, like it might be hard to set like a goal to play it more. Like, so if music's not everything you do, you could be like, you know what? One of my goals is to make sure I'm giving myself me time. And on one of the things you can do is like play the guitar is me time. So then you're not putting an unrealistic heavy goal on yourself for learning so much on guitar, but really just saying, hey, I'm going to pick it up for 10 minutes. And as someone who plays music, I can tell you, if you pick something up for 10 minutes every day, you're going to get a lot further than you'd think. So,
Yeah, that's totally fine.
and then it makes it relevant to you. And then the last one of SMART is timely. So you put a time on it, and we've kind of just talked about that a lot already. But yeah, if you, that's part of measurable too, is timely. And what time frame are you going to get your goal done?
Yeah.
Cool. The other question I have for you, getting is we're doing these goals like a year goal, a 6-month goal, and the next couple week goal. Do we want them all in the same area? Do we want to break them out over anything? And I used to think physical, mental, spiritual, financial, is how I used to really kind of break down my life.
Yeah.
And I don't know that that's still how I do it. I don't know. I don't break down my life. My life's breaking me down. No, I'm just kidding. Talk about last. No, I'm just
Do you
kidding.
think that's relevant to the podcast?
No, it's not.
Hold on.
We're
Your
dark.
feelings are relevant, okay? You're heard, Dad. And if you need a second to vent, the people here are ready to
We're
listen.
vented. I'm vented. I
You're
just got a
vented.
text tonight just before we started.
Yeah.
You're talking about getting paid, and I'm talking about how I'm not getting paid for something. So
Oh, yeah. Well, that's, yeah.
it's part of life.
What happens?
So, yeah. So, anyways, any criteria or any ideas? Any ideas you want to give us on areas we should put it on, or are we going to keep this kind of a free flow? Everybody do their own thing, and then come back and report how we did and how we broke them down and what we felt.
Yeah, wait. So for clarity too, are we to tag on to that? Are we doing like a challenge or some like what you alluded to us doing something? Can you get us a little bit more specific?
I did allude.
There, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Can you give us some of those?
So, goals
That
and
is
not
fair.
girls.
The goal of this week-long experiment that I want to have.
Oh, it's a week long experiment.
It's a week-long experiment.
Okay, yeah.
7 days. So, to answer your question, Dad, from earlier, I think that the quadrants that we could split them up into is spiritual, intellectual, physical, and financial.
I
And that
like
could
it.
just give us a good basis of what to work off of. And then from there, I think most of it is personal. But for our challenge, Ashton, I think that what I would like to do is to make sure to write down our goals at least once a day. I would choose in the morning just so I have it to think about throughout the day, and I can continue writing throughout the day depending on what happens. And so just writing every morning and then checking back in a week and seeing what we accomplished and what we could maybe change for the future. And I think it's beneficial because then we have us to work off of to make sure that we are keeping up with this challenge.
Okay, so for me, the challenge is we are writing something in each of those quadrants. We're writing down a goal for something in each of those quadrants for 7 days. And at the end of the 7 days, we're going to report back on how those goals went.
I think that we write the mix of long-term and short-term
Okay.
goals for each of those quadrants. And they don't necessarily have to be week-long goals.
Okay.
I guess they could be if you wanted to. Like
Yeah.
for me, I like to focus on social media, which I've been lacking in, which is another reason I want to talk more about goals
Yeah.
and, challenge myself to do more of that. I could set a 7-day goal of I want to gain, this many followers or this many likes,
2 inches of muscle mass,
2 inches of muscle mass on my biceps. I
specifically.
want my right middle ab to stick out just a half inch further.
It already does.
Oh,
No.
thank you.
What
No,
if-
further than it is.
What if I just hit you really hard?
To recap, the challenge that I would like to set for everybody at this table and anybody listening, that'd be cool too. I want to hear about it. Is for all of us to write down our goals for 7 days. And I think it would also be interesting to pick some specific goals that we can measure throughout the 7 days and see what happens.
Hello. If you're listening to this right now, that means you're currently listening to an episode of Adulting Decrypted. And let me just say thank you. My name's Ashton, one of the hosts of Adulting Decrypted, and I wanted to steal a quick second of your time to do a shameless little plug. If you've listened to our podcast for any sort of time, you know that we talk about a bunch of different stuff all about adulting. Because our goal is to help individuals in this task we call adulting. Now, we have just revamped the way that we do this. If you go to adultingdecrypted.com, you can see all of our episodes sorted out by category. We've sorted it into financial, practical, emotional, social, and things just for fun. So, if any of those categories are of particular interest to you right now, you can go onto the website, look through there, and see all of our episodes that correlate with that specific thing. This website's completely free to use. It's just another tool for our listeners to find things that are more important to them now. So, for example, if I was looking at it, I'd scroll through and say, hey, you know what? I want to see what the Adult and Encrypted crew has talked about socially. Well, one of our first episodes, season 1, episode 3, how do I talk to people? That's where we talked about all about how to talk to people. So if that's something you want right now, you can go find that right now. Also in this one, season 3, episode 15, The Power of a Humble Mediator, where we talked to one of my old bosses about his business as a mayor, also as a small theater owner. Some really cool stuff. So, if you're looking for a better way to organize through all your self-help podcasts, try adultingdecrypted.com and enjoy the rest of the episode.
Gideon, so as a listener, what is one of your goals is to write down your goals daily. What's the other two that you'd like to be held accountable for the next week to report back to us?
I think for 7 days, I want to make sure I make this a SMART goal, that I say it right. So, sustainable,
Specific.
Specific. So that's an S word too. Sorry.
Very good.
Specific, I would like to, at the end of the 7 days, there's a time, I want to gain 50 followers on Instagram. I think that's realistic and attainable. I think that's one. So, and I would also like to, I've talked a lot about social media, so I might as well keep on the train. I'd like to post every day. A post and then a story going along with it.
Great. So I will accept your challenge of writing my goals every day. I think that's a good challenge.
Awesome.
So I won't use that as my main goal, but I think I'll take that to try and drive to clarity. So one of my goals will be to set a sleep schedule and follow it like a nighttime ritual, like I have a morning ritual, because I'm noticing I'm not sleeping as good. And I believe if I can get better sleep, if I have a better nighttime, not even schedule might be the right word, but a process, turn off my phone and follow that kind of method.
Okay.
And see if by following a set method of sleep, going to sleep, if that does not help me, wake up more alert and ready to go. So very specific is a nighttime ritual, measurable. How many days did I do it out of the 7 days? I don't know if it's really obtainable. Why do I say obtainable for A?
I don't know.
What's the right word? What's the other?
Attainable.
Attainable. Is it really attainable? I don't know.
ATT.
Because it is hard for me. Yeah. But it's really relevant to what I'm doing, and it's timely, it's measured. So 7 days of following that after I establish that tomorrow. And then the next goal that I'd like to set for myself would be to make sure that I stretch every day. And I don't mean like be doing harder things, but actually one of my big goals for 2023 was mobility. Yeah. And I believe that I've got away from that a little bit. I know I'm more flexible, but I'm not in my daily habit of it.
Okay.
So I would say specific would be more flexible, measurable. I can go pull out some charts and really just quickly measure myself. Is it attainable? Yeah, I think so. Relevant, yeah, to where I'm at, and timely. I think for the measurable, I think I'll just say, did I do it every day for at least 5 minutes?
5 minutes?
Yeah,
Okay.
5 minutes of stretching a day.
Yeah.
And that way it's not, I don't have to do anything complicated.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So for me, the two more short-term goals that I want to do is there's some specific admin paperwork that I have to do as part of my job that has been giving me some grief. So my goal is to have that done and dusted by the end of the week.
Okay.
That's one of my goals. There's some budget forms, and then there's some scheduling forms that I've got to figure out. And then my second goal is to keep my spaces clean and organized.
Ooh,
so
I like it.
So a struggle, this is why it's relevant. A struggle that I've been having is I've got some long days, some days where I'm in and out a bunch, And it's really easy for like me to just drop the things that I'm leaving, pick up the things I need and go, and then my space gets dirty quick. And
Yeah.
so I just want to fix that. So we're going to see how it goes for 7 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you think you can measure the cleanliness and organization?
That's a good
Because
question.
I was trying to think about how you do it. Would
Yeah.
it be like
so for
your desk has nothing on it but your computer?
I think what I am going to do is I'm going to take a picture every day of the space. And if I could confidently send it to my mom and say, "Look how clean my room is," then I know my space is clean. But if I feel like I'm not willing to send that picture, then my space isn't clean. So I will
want a picture every day.
All right, you'll get
so
a picture.
I know what it looks like.
You'll get
He
a
wants
picture.
you to call him
Awesome.
Mom.
Hey, mommy, I got a picture for you.
Thank you.
Did you accept my picture, mommy?
I do.
Okay, you guys are weird.
All right, cool.
Awesome. I love your guys' goals.
I love you
And
too. I mean,
that-
your goals. I love your goals too.
And your guns.
my
Mommy.
What
Okay,
are
now
you
it's getting
talking
weird.
about?
Okay, done. Episode over. Cut.
We will check back in a week.
So it has officially been over a week, and we are back to check up on our goals.
We are.
So who would like to start?
I would not.
Well, I can. Out of the 7 days, I looked at it earlier and realized that I had hit 5 days of writing every day my goals out of the 7. And that was interesting. As I wrote, I got more clarity, like the hope was. And really, what was interesting is that stretching and going to bed on time didn't keep hitting the top. But I realized by not doing those two, one of my top goals was physically fit, to get more physically fit, live a more mobile lifestyle. As I'm getting older, I'm realizing that's one that I need to do. I didn't hit that goal. What I'm trying to say is it's part of inside that other goal. So it's very relevant to what I want in life.
Okay.
And then the other goal was better sleep. And I was struggling with that one a lot because I'm like, look, I'm really not writing it every day. Why does it matter? But then something happened and I realized that our amount of sleep that we have really can determine our mental health. So on those two goals specifically, stretching, I didn't realize that I'd committed to 5 minutes a day. So I don't know that I hit that. But I do know that out of the 7 days, 4 of them a good amount of time, and the other 3 I did stretch. It just wasn't as committed. So I don't know that it was a true 5 minutes. Some of them were probably longer. Some of them were shorter. And then, like I said, 3 days were kind of probably slack. Like, oh, I touched my toes today. I'm good. So
Yeah.
overall, I thought it was a tough exercise. And I think the biggest reason is because not in the habit of doing it. And so I think goes back to some of the stuff we talked to about Atomic Habit. I haven't set myself up for that success, but it was a good call out to remind me of what I'm trying to do, where I'm trying to go, and why I need to focus on writing my goals and not just even writing them, but actually looking at them and saying, okay, I'm going to accomplish this. This is how I'm going to accomplish it, and really work on more of the Atomic Habit type of stuff.
Nice. I really like your insight. My goals were, you just heard them. I don't have to remind you. But I posted, I think, 5 out of the 7 days consecutively. And I wrote my goals, I think, maybe 3 times. I wrote my goals clearly at least once or twice. And then another one, I wrote down post ideas, like a whole lot of ideas, because I knew that was something I struggled with, was being more creative with the posts that I was giving out, and not just that I was putting out something. And for the 50 followers, I realized that people don't like it when you post every day. So I actually ended up losing some followers. So that's a good learning experience. And I know that a lot more of the process is also DTE, which means daily targeted engagement. So I need to engage with the community that I want to be around and not just throw out not very worked on content. So that's kind of what I learned.
In music, we call that the difference between microwave and crockpot. because
nuking something versus
yeah,
slow cooking.
like you can microwave a piece and it will work, or you can crock pot a piece and it will be awesome. Like the two different thought processes there. With my goals, I did not write anything down at all for the past few days or week, except for when we recorded the episode. I wrote like a note down on my computer. And it was interesting because I found that something as simple as that made me think about it more. I didn't write it anymore, but I was presently thinking about it. I said I was going to send you a picture. I didn't do that at all. You
Yeah.
did follow up though.
I asked. Yeah.
So it's all on me. But then I also, so my room is clean right now, ish. My desk is clean. I was very aware of that this week. So I was very careful to keep trash and dishes and everything kind of organized and dusted.
And I
then,
think, yeah, go
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
I was just going to say, I think that's a big part is being aware of what we want instead of just always being like, I need to be more, I need to do more, but actually know what that is that you want to do and be.
Right.
And so just like you said, having it be in your conscious mind.
Right. Yeah, totally. Totally. It definitely helped. Well, and then the other side of that coin, the other thing I said I was going to do in the week was submit a budget and calendar. I don't know if I got specific, actually. I can't remember. But those were some important paperwork that I had to do for a program that I'm trying to start up this winter. And I got that done. Still waiting for it all to get approved, but got it finished. It took a lot longer than I planned. There's a lot that goes into a budget of a program the size that I'm trying to go for. And then scheduling, like I'm scheduling stuff for April, from now until April, trying to figure out spaces for rehearsals and all that sort of stuff. So push myself to that goal. Was presently thinking about it all the time. But I've also found sometimes with my goals I need a deadline. That really helps me.
Yeah.
And sometimes a self-imposed deadline is not enough. Both of these ones were, and they worked. But I know some of my bigger accomplishments, I've had deadlines where I've had other people counting on me, and it's helped drive my goals.
Yeah. Thank you.
You know, along those lines, Ashton, as we're recording in the woodshed, there's a Norman Rockwell painting. It's a replica, and it's called Deadline. And I love it because it actually has him sitting there trying to design the Saturday Post, and he's got his clock next to him, his watch, like he knows he's got a time limit, and he's going, I don't know what to draw. Like it's half drawn, and he's sitting there, and you could tell he's just kind of stressed because it's not a self-imposed deadline, right? He's like, creativity's got to happen, and it's got to happen now.
And I found that sort of creativity like both a blessing and a curse, because sometimes it's fun. It like makes you make new creative things. But with those sorts of things, when you get stuck with not knowing what you want to do, that imposter syndrome can hit hard too with that sort of thing.
Sure. Somebody like Norman Rockwell that we all know and respect as an artist obviously was still drawing what was going through his mind at that point in his life. So I think it's very appropriate and applicable that we all kind of feel that. Gideon's point, if it's not even in our consciousness that we need to do this, then we're not going to do it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, like, at least for me, this has been a really good learning experience. Maybe not on, like, a hoorah, like, yeah,
We did it.
we did it. This is awesome ending. But it's like we learned some things.
Yeah.
And that's really good. And yeah.
Well, and I think that goes along with the SMART goals, like we talked about, because it talks about, I guess SMART-T, because we talked about that as well, but evaluate after you're done. And you don't always have to hit it. You don't always have to do exactly what you said, but if you evaluate afterwards, you can know how to continue to work with your process as you go forward.
Yeah. And now we know what to do different next time.
True.
So, that wrap up season 6?
I think so. I think
congratulations on seasons 18 episodes into season 6. Well
Yeah.
done, team.
6 years old.
And we also hit our 10,000 downloads in
Woohoo!
season 6.
Yeah, we
So
did.
thank you, audience, for your support. We appreciate the listeners who tune in and for those who give us encouragement via text, emails, and reach out to us on Facebook.
Yeah, we're looking forward to hearing from you and see you in season 7.
Woo woo.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Adult and Decrypted. We really enjoyed having this week's conversation, and we hope you did as well.
If you ever want to comment on the topics, you can send us a message to our website, adultingdecrypted.com, our email, adultingdecrypted@gmail.com, or through our Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn accounts at adultingdecrypted.
If you have any topics for the show that you would like us to talk about, or if you are a parent and want us to talk about something your kids should know, send us a message on any of the accounts mentioned. If you would like to be a guest or have an idea for someone you think we should have on our show, feel free to send us an email detailing your thoughts to adultingdecrypted@gmail.com. Adulting is teamwork.
We have merch. If you want to show off your Adulting Decrypted pride, check out our website, adultingdecrypted.com, or our partner website with shop.spreadshirt.com/adulting-decrypted. Lastly, if you enjoyed the show, please consider supporting us on our Patreon at Adulting Decrypted. Along with the benefits that come with our Patreon, and trust us, there are some pretty good ones in there, you will not only be helping us continue in the effort to make great content, but you will be part of a community of individuals all trying their best to adult. We appreciate you listening, enjoying, and leaving your positive reviews.
Throwing what out now?
That it might take a second for him to find
Yeah.
questions.
Just make
otherwise-
sure I get good questions so we have quality content.
Yep.
All right. Well, I have pressed record.
Okay.
I don't know if we're all ready or not or what, but now we have a conversation on the record.
Cool.
Congrats.
Cool.
1, 2,
Cool beans.
buckle my shoe.
Cool beans.
3, 4, lock the door.
5, 6, Nike kick. What? Sigh.
Nothing.
Am I good to go?
Whenever you, yep.
Okay. So on this week of Adulting Encrypted, we're thinking about doing something a little bit different. An idea that I had that I thought might be fun. Do you want me to start over because you adjusted audio?
No, you're good.
Doesn't matter.
No, you're
Okay.
chilling. You're fine.
So we talked about setting some goals for a 7-day period and then checking back in a week and seeing how it all goes. So
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Adult and Decrypted. We really enjoyed having this week's conversation, and we hope you did as well.
If you ever want to comment on the topics, you can send us a message to our website, adultingdecrypted.com, our email, adultingdecrypted@gmail.com, or through our Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn accounts at adultingdecrypted.
If you have any topics for the show that you would like us to talk about, or if you are a parent and want us to talk about something your kids should know, send us a message on any of the accounts mentioned. If you would like to be a guest or have an idea for someone you think we should have on our show, feel free to send us an email detailing your thoughts to adultingdecrypted@gmail.com. Adulting is teamwork.
We have merch. If you want to show off your Adulting Decrypted pride, check out our website, adultingdecrypted.com, or our partner website with shop.spreadshirt.com/adulting-decrypted. Lastly, if you enjoyed the show, please consider supporting us on our Patreon at Adulting Decrypted. Along with the benefits that come with our Patreon, and trust us, there are some pretty good ones in there, you will not only be helping us continue in the effort to make great content, but you will be part of a community of individuals all trying their best to adult. We appreciate you listening, enjoying, and leaving your positive reviews. Now, the special song from Gene and Gideon.